All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for joining us on the show Time with Taptap Send right here on HRE TV. My producer for the night is Nana Lord, and he will be helping us to bring the show to you as well as
Lots of echo. Lots of echo.
a lot of echo. Do you still hear the echo?
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm not sure where the echo is coming from. Um,
It's like there's
Could
a
you,
repetition. Anytime you
yeah, could
speak,
you
you
possibly
speak
have had
twice.
two lines open on your end?
no. Can you guys hear me now? Is it better?
Please.
Can you please I can hear a baby in the background. Can you guys please mute? But do you guys still hear the echo from me? Is it better now? I think it's probably better now. Please just give us a thumbs up or a message if the voice is better now, if the sound is better now.
28 people was about, oh, no.
Can you please let us know if the echo is still coming up? Okay, we're gonna
30
proceed.
people.
Dorothy, we can hear you. Can you mute yourself, please? So G1 says, I hear you speaking, but I can't hear you. I see you talking, but I can't hear you. I'm on mute.
Chat way. So I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now? Is the echo better?
Yes, a lot better than before, but
All right.
there seemed to be a little bit residue.
Okay, thank you. I guessed it. All right, can you mute yourself for us now? I think we're gonna go with this for now. All right, again, thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your time. J. Williams, okay, says perfect. Thank you guys very much. You guys made the show perfect, and with your feedbacks and contribution, also help us to, do the right thing so that we can get this program across to you. Once again, welcome to the show. Time with Taptap Send right here on HRE TV. Again, my producer for the night is Nana Lord, Daniel, and A Class. And we are going to bring you guys nothing but wonderful show tonight. So before we proceed, we'd like to grant some acknowledgement to our sponsors for tonight and proceed from there. So the first one I'd like to introduce to you all is Feel Good Services. In case you're looking for a mental health educator or a mental health speaker to talk to you concerning anything in terms of mental illness or mental health, please look no further by feelgoodservices at gmail.com. Contact them for the best speech and also services that you can ever have. I'd also like to recommend to you Feel Good Homes in case you find yourself in Ghana. Any time of the year, please contact Feel Good Homes at 513-372-5758 or plus 233-208-149-504, or you can still contact them at feelgoodservices at gmail.com. They have a beautiful apartment at East Legon Hills, which is going with the suite such as studio, one bedroom, and two bedrooms, and everything is in suite as well, so you don't have to worry about anything. We free Wi-Fi and all the good stuff. So please contact them and get your best accommodation that you can have in Ghana. I also like to recommend Oswald Wellness LLC to you in case you find yourself in Maryland or Ohio. Please contact them at 513-268-2740 in case you're looking for a family nurse practitioner or you try to have an IV hydration, a primary care manager, or try to work on your weight management. That is something that they are very, very big about. What I mean by that is they specialize in weight management. So please contact them to get that taken care of. The next on my list is in case you want to fight financial ignorance in America, that means getting rid of the GoFundMe's and also set up an income protection for you and your family. Set up a good college fund plan for your kids. Create a generational wealth and all that great stuff they can think of. Please look no further but our very own Millicent Owusu. Please contact Millicent Owusu at 937 372 937-321-2270 and 937-270-9882. She's a licensed financial professional, and she will actually walk you through all the steps that you can, and you can make some better outcome with that to make life easier on the other end as well. Taptap Send, the best on the market, the best out there, the best in everything. Very fast, secured, and reliable. And when it comes to secured, I mean secured. It's very secured. You will not have any issues with your app or anything of that sort. So please contact, please download the app, or whether you have your Apple Store, your Google Play Store, whether it's Android, download the app and put in the promo code PK, P-KAY, all caps, and get $15 on your first transaction. Please do that to get your first your $15 bonus in your first transaction. And if you do not apply the promo code prior to sending your first transaction out, you tend to lose the $15. So please make sure, even if you're not ready to send money, download the app, apply the promo code, let the money sit in the account, and whenever the need for you to send money happens, you can just go ahead and do whatever you have to do and just get the money for it. Also, if you're around the Midwest area and you send me a proof that you've sent money with my promo code, I will get you a little bag of rice for you to also enjoy with your family as well. So please, let's do that. And at this point, I will hand over the floor to A-Class to give us updates from Taptap Send and any good stuff that is coming up from Taptap Send. A-Class, over to you.
Thank you very much, PK. I was on for your mom and about time with Taptap Send so say the bia damo ba amaya no nyame insham no go so to so bi engu so emabo. At the moment, what we can gladly say that, as we told you all last week, we're able to do the donation that we did at Okonfanoche and also at Peace FM as well. And we are glad to say, when you go onto the app of Taptap Send, we've got the list of charity, which is there at the moment. You can gladly donate to any one of them, and God will bless you for that. You just click on the donate button. It will give you the list as well, and we'll also continue to give you the best rate as we can. So we'll play it with each and every one on the call at the moment. 52 people. If you get a chance, you see any of our flyers or anything got to do with Taptap Send, please share on the various platforms that you belong to, so that you can the good news can also go a long way for other people hearing and knowing what Taptap Send does in the community as well. And our reps and ambassadors are always in the community out there, any of the states in Piano, America, Canada, anywhere Piano, Pomacho, reach out to us when you meet us out there. So at least they make me an idea of what the community they'll continue to do it. Any state Piano, we got somebody covered in there. So please, if we don't have anybody covered in the state now, maybe the nearby states, there's somebody in there, reach out to them. There are some on the call tonight as well. So it will be a great day as well. So without not talking too much, I will leave and hand over to PK whilst we are all here to listen to part 2 of Donald Trump returned and what our neighbor lawyer got to tell us, and we'll take it from there as well. At this point in time now, I will step back and hand over to PK. Thank you very much, and God bless you all for coming.
All right, thank you very much for the update. Thank you very much for the updates from Taptap Send. Please take the opportunity of this time and please send the link up to your loved ones, family, and friends so that we can get everybody's questions answered. So this is what's going to happen. I'm not feeling too well, also please pardon me if my voice is a little bit hoarse. But what's going to happen is we're going to listen to the updates from our lawyers, and the good thing is we have both lawyer Ismail and his wife who will be talking to us. The wife will start, and lawyer Ismail will continue after that. So once we get the updates, then after that we're going to open the floor for questions. So please keep bringing your questions in, and especially those of you who can get all your questions answered last week, we will try as much as possible to use more time to, at least like a whole hour to actually get these questions in for you so that they can get answered. At this point, we would like to welcome Mrs. Toronka to HRT. This is not her first time. She's been here a couple times before. And actually, I have a quick and interesting question for her from somebody anonymous. So once we welcome her before she speaks, I'll ask her that question. How are you doing, ma'am, Mrs. Toronka? I cannot hear you. I think you're on mute.
I've muted myself.
Yes.
I am doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Outstanding. It's good to see you again.
Yes, ma'am.
The people miss your energy, your intelligence, your vibrant, and also everything. So before we start, an anonymous person asked me a question saying that since you're a lawyer and your husband is a lawyer, whenever you guys argue in the house, who wins the argument?
Well, let me tell you this. We're both lawyer, but I'm a female. So, so I'm winning hands down. I'm always
Oh,
winning the argument.
that's what it is?
Yes, when it has to come down to it, it's a battle of the genders, and the female gender will win.
I will leave it as it is, and I will proceed from there. So, well, the person is listening to you right now, so I think the person has gotten their answer. So, please, tell us about, in a nutshell, in about 20 minutes or less, because we want to do more questions and answers after that. But in about 20 minutes or less, tell us about the new updates of President Trump's administration in terms of immigration policies, and what people need to look out for and how things can get better. And I know Malcolm is watching us right now. Malcolm is on the show right now. So Malcolm, please, as we proceed, try to put the firm's contact information out there so that people can actually save them and try to book for a consultation fee. So Mrs. Toronko, over to you.
Yeah. Hey, Malcolm. Malcolm is very well knowledgeable as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for allowing me to be here. We are in very confusing times. I thought I had seen the lights of this before in 2008 and 2016, where there was a slew of deportations. But
Can you do me a favor, please? Can
sure.
you landscape your phone for me so that we can get you full-fledged in the camera? Just landscape.
Okay. Like that?
Yes, like that. Yes, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, then I need to kind of because I was using my phone instead of my iPad. So I'm gonna have to prop it up.
Yes. So this
Let's
looks better.
see. That's better.
Yep.
Okay. Let's I have to prop the phone up on something.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. That's better.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So we are in very confusing times. So there are different, let me say this. There are policies. All of what Trump did is not a law. Every president that comes in, they effect what they call policies. And those policies can be overturned by the next administration that comes in 4 years later. So we are operating the policies. And then after he signs these policies, then the DOJ has to affect these policies. So then the DOJ began to send memos out on how the court system, how EOIR or the immigration will affect the policies. So, and then on top of that, you will have groups like the ACLUs or the immigration law groups, humanitarian law groups that will be challenging these policies and fighting these policies. But immediately, the very first one we want to kind of look at is Trump is main focus is on the borders. Of course, he wants to secure the borders. He wants to secure any entry coming into the United States. Let me also point out that these policies, I mean, these memos for how these mass raids or mass deportations or how immigration courts are going to handle, they are still coming in. They're going to come in for some time. The bleeding has not stopped. For example, he said, this is the policy, and then you're going to have these his people send us how are we going to carry out the policies. And that's when we receive memorandums from immigration, from EOIR or from the department on how we're going to carry it out. So he's focusing on the borders, trying to secure that by putting more people on the borders, number one. Number two, they have all of those people who applied for the CBP through getting asylum through the CBP app, they call it. Because under Biden, they said, listen, if you're going to come here, ask for asylum. We had a lot of Ghanaians coming through Mexico to try to apply for asylum based on the law in Ghana that states that if you are part of the LGBT, that law that criminalized being a part of that community. So a lot of them are flooding through Mexico, through most of those border states on the Texas and Mexico and why not. And then you come to the Mexican border, you present yourself and fill out this through this app, and then you get interviewed very briefly. And when they find that your story is credible, they allow you to come in. Sometimes they parole you in, and then we had a slew of cases coming in last year. Now, that's one of the programs that have been sort of suspended right now. They cancel any kind of applications or interviews, or appointments that were pending. They've canceled that. So if you know family members that were on their way here, that has been canceled. Also, the refugees, people applying for refugees status, like if your country was in a war or a war torn or some unrest and you decided to apply for refugee status to come here in this country, get paroled and try to find your way and stay here, they have suspended that for at least 3 to 4 months, and then they would get more guidance and see if it needs to be put back on the table. But for now, they're doing that on a case-by-case basis. I'm trying to remember all of the policies that are on the table right now. But right now, what they are trying to do and where the fear and anxieties are coming from is the mass raids. They entering homes and jobs and schools and churches and businesses and just rounding up people. If you are here, those people who are U.S. citizens, before I get to that, and another policy that he signed, which is going to have some legal setbacks, is the birthright citizenship for those who were born here as U.S. citizens, but their parents are foreign national. He wants that to be gone. We are one of the few countries that is still having birthright citizenship, but that's going to have a 14th Amendment challenge. So we're not going to see that kind of disappear or go away. But what they're going to try to do, though, there are people who came here just to have their babies or have children here and then go back home. They may not get rid of their right to be a citizen, but certainly I'm sure they're going to come with some kind of internal policy for women who is like 8 months, 9 months and trying to get a visitor visa to come here. They're going to suspect she's coming here for that purpose. And we're very much probably going to see sort of a low acceptance on that. I will anticipate that. Now, for those people who are, because I've been getting a lot of calls, how am I being protected by this? What do I do? If you are a U.S. citizen, Of course, that was naturalized, you're secured. But I'll say if you're from African descent or Hispanic descent, they'll look at you. There is an increase of racial profiling now. I have heard and seen even U.S. citizens that have been naturalized, been arrested, and then going through the process, and then they finding out that you indeed are a citizen, and then they let you go. But by the time all of that happened, maybe a day or two, your life has been traumatized for those few days. So I will say, listen, get a copy of your passport if you're a U.S. citizen, or a copy of your naturalization. Make sure your ID is identifiable. Have a copy of it on you. Never ever, if you're undocumented, never ever travel with your actual passport. If you are overstayed, never ever travel with your actual passport, because if they catch you and put you in ICE custody, and they search your property or whatever and take your actual passport, that is, someone said the audio is very low. Let me see.
I could hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, do not travel with your actual uh, passport, because that is just giving them, they can take that passport and now they have a document to be able to send you home. So I'm advising people, do not travel with it. If you want to have a copy of it on you, if you're undocumented, I wouldn't travel with it at all. But if you want to carry a copy of it for identification purpose, certainly do that. But I like to, when I'm talking to people about these things, I like to speak in sort of scenarios so that I can explain it a whole lot better. Another tip is people that are in proceedings or that are filing for their papers, for example. And we'll start with the people in proceedings. Some people have asked me, listen, I'm in proceedings. What about if I have TPS, I have parole? Yes, those people who are paroled here in the country, they very much can try to expedite your removal. Expediting your removal means you are here in this country. Maybe you got into the ambit of immigration. They caught you, and you have a court. The way the proceeding is supposed to work is, you're driving without license, for example. Let's take that scenario. You get stopped for a routine traffic stop. You don't have your documents. You don't have no green card or whatever, and you have to go to court. And under this administration, what I anticipate will happen then is they will ask you those questions about, do you have a green card, blah, blah, blah. You don't have any documents to show you're lawfully here. They will take you into detention at the local level, and then they will contact ICE to pick you up. And back then it will work wherein ICE come and process you, release you, because it's not a crime that you committed. And then you have an opportunity to go through the immigration process, the due process, which is now immigration court. That's how it typically should work. That's how it typically has been working. But what they are trying to do now is, if you are caught driving without license, for example, you don't have any documents to show that you're legal here, you're undocumented here, they process you for driving without license, they put you in the ICE custody. DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, now has an opportunity to make a determination whether or not to expedite your removal, or to allow you to stay in this country and go through the due process, which is through the court process, to file for asylum, cancellation, or removal, or whatever relief is there that may be available to you. And so that's why it's at this point so scary, because at any given time, if you get stopped and you're undocumented, either your visa has expired or you have overstayed the stay on your I-94 card, they can again decide whether to expedite your removal or to allow you to stay here and go through the removal process. Let's back up a bit. Those people who have green cards and think, oh, okay, we're fine, we're permanent resident. That logic would be correct. We had a lot under the administration, Trump administration before, where even those people who had green card came into the contact with immigration because they had committed a crime, drug offense, burglary, any kind of crime that was on the, that had a dangerous nature. And then they get put in proceedings, and now they're subject to removal because they're either inadmissible or deportable. If we will roll that back a bit, now there was a case called the Laken Riley Act that was just passed not too long ago, which the illegal alien called Jose killed a young man called Laken Riley. So now they're saying if you have shoplifted, if you have burglarized, if you larceny, like shoplifting, just go to Walmart and it's a little petty theft. If you committed any crimes that can potentially cause bodily harm to anyone, if ICE takes you in, they will screen you to determine, you will be a mandatory detainee. In some states, I do criminal law and immigration. It's an area of law called crimmigration, those people who commit crimes. I do the analysis between the state's statute and the federal statute to see whether they are categorically a match, we call it. If they are not, because the state statute may have some divisibility under which you weren't charged, then I can argue that and lower that statute and say, well, you know what, in Virginia, the statute under which John was convicted is a burglary statute, but the exact statute is divisible because he was not criminalized under all the sections. It doesn't fit and match the federal law burglary statute. And so he should not be an aggravated felony or a crime of moral turpitude. Those are the two different areas that usually immigration would charge you if you have crimes committed. But in this case, under the Laken Riley, if you commit those crimes, whether you do the analysis or not, you will be automatically held as a detainee and not able to post bond. You will be considered not being eligible for bond. So you have to stay in detention while your case is until you adjudicate your case. However, if you choose to have a judge look at whether or not you fit into the Laken Riley Act, then you can say, listen, I think I was falsely categorized or classified. So the judge will look at whether or not the Laken Riley Act fits you, not whether or not you are eligible for bond. And so people who have those crimes already, if you commit another crime or if you committed the crime, but everything is done, you've served your time or you didn't serve a time, you did probation, and you're driving without license, and somehow they stop you or they do a raid and they stop you and they go through and see you have a criminal conviction that is this a petty theft or something. Now you are facing whether or not you're going to be a mandatory detainee or whether they expedite your removal to go back home. The second thing that they are giving the ICE, the DOJ is now sending an internal memo that ICE officers can very much now conduct these activities around the immigration courts. Immigration courts are the one places. Sometimes you have, like in Baltimore, we have the immigration ICE office in the same building on one floor. You have the immigration court on another floor. You have USCIS, which is where you file, in another floor. So some buildings, some states have everything in one building. Before you can bring your families to be a witness in court for you, you can take family and friends to support you. Now with the new policy that they are effecting, they're allowing the ICE agents to now conduct activities around. So for example, if I had court and maybe my sister, who is undocumented as well, is coming to court to support me as a family member, I would tell her, no, you better try to think that twice, because if ICE officers know that perhaps they would check, okay, Kama has a case. If she has a witness, they can be around, they can ask questions, they can ask you for your papers while you're walking in. If you don't have documents to show, they can very much take you in. And that's a pretty scary thing, because that's going to really skew down how we try these cases, especially in person. Now, right now, most of the cases, a lot of judges are conducting them through WebEx, like a Zoom. It's called WebEx, but it's like a Zoom. So I would definitely urge people who are in court proceedings to ask their lawyers to file motions to make sure your case is in on WebEx. At least that would save them from taking you in or taking your family members in, or why not? Um, there was something that came out in Tennessee, which is completely unconstitutional, but there is a copycat syndrome that sort of around when one state sees something going on and it looked like it might be effective, they jump on it. Green card holders in Tennessee will be now if they pass a law, they will only be able to get temporary green cards, not the permanent green card for like the 10 years or so before they change it. Why? Because they're trying to circumvent voter fraud, according to them. That's their excuse. And so what they're going to do is have people who have green cards. They said because a lot of immigrants are flooding into these states, and when they're gerrymandering these states or trying to pick a representative, they're not going with who's illegal or who's legal. They're going with how many people live in the states. So if a lot of illegal immigrants or those on green cards are in the states, it may not be fair. So they are going to go after those who have green cards to make sure they only get temporary driver's license. I guarantee you that's going to have a trickle down effect. If it seems to be working in Tennessee, other states might pick it up. Another policy area is the sanctuary states and cities. Sanctuary meaning like some like for example, New York might say, oh, you know what, we're not going to report someone if they had a criminal conviction, um, and they can, after the hearing, we don't have to report. And then you have churches who would say, okay, we will create a safe haven for people to come and hide or things like that. Now they are going to, under this Tennessee statute, they're going to criminalize this. And not only in the Tennessee statute, also under the Laken Riley, they are going to try to criminalize those state officials who are not cooperating with ICE. And I heard with the subcommittee with immigration today we're in their meeting, and what they said was pretty astounding. They are really eventually trying to block people from coming into the country, whether legal or illegal. Um, it's not even about whether they're here illegally. So they gave an example because the chairperson was asking question about how they're going to stop and kind of get a hold of this immigration coming in. And one of the senators said that those people who are coming, for example, they gave an example. If you come here on an F1 visa, and that leads from F1 to OPT, from OPT perhaps H1B, and then you're in permanent resident status, and then later on you can get your citizenship. They are finding a way now to be able to cut that process, especially take out the OPT portion of it, which is going to be a major problem for a lot of people who are already here in the United States on OPT or trying to come on an F1 and then later on have a pathway. So what they're trying to do, and that hasn't come out yet, but they're thinking of every way we can stop some of these visa process that leads to people getting permanent residence and then eventually citizenship. And the F1 is one of them, especially they come on unemployment. Come on F1 to go to school. From there, a company hires them. They're on OPT. From there, they can get an H1B. From there, citizenship. So they are very much thinking ahead and how they can sort of put a stop on that. Where we have the biggest headaches now is, of course, the raids and immigration court, those people who are undocumented. Yeah, somebody just posted a question that I was literally about to hit. That's where we have the most major problem, and it's going to trickle down to those people who are filing for USCIS, even though there has been no clear policy. But I will not be surprised if your husband or your wife filed for you, or family filed for you. I will highly suggest, if you have I-130 receipts, I-130 grant already waiting for your adjustment, keep a copy of those receipts with you, because that can help them check right away instead of taking you in to process you. My anticipation will be that if you had a criminal conviction somewhere and you show up for your interview, they could very much take you in. Like, it's a wide discretion how they're going to move. They're giving them a very wide discretion on how they conduct their activity. If you have two passports because you are a dual citizen of Ghana and America before, and some people will go maybe going in, they don't want to get the Ghana visa, so they will just travel on their Ghanaian passport and go home. You coming back, your US passport. It has never been a major problem before. They just accept you coming back on your on your US passport, and you enter your country. But I just read a case where a woman was going back home on her Ivorian passport. She left the United States, and then as she was coming back, they took her Ivorian passport from her, and now she doesn't have it. They're going to very much look into that process and probably begin to cut into it. So I will highly suggest, if you are a U.S. citizen, you want to go back home, use her U.S. passport, because that's what she was told to use her U.S. passport to enter into her country, and then come back with the U.S. passport. I guess if your country is part of the ECOWAS, you can use it when you enter into.
So Mr. Ranko,
Mhm.
I got a question. Does immigration have the power to take the passport from her?
Well, yes, because you signed when you took the oath of allegiance. And that question is a yes and no. When you took the oath of allegiance, your allegiance is you're pledging allegiance to the United States, and foregoing every other allegiance to every other country. That's
So
what
then,
your oath.
so then, how does the dual citizenship works?
Well, some of these places don't have dual citizenship. You just use your passport. And the reason why I brought that up, because those cases are popping up, but there are no guidelines on it yet. You know what I mean? So if you have dual citizenship, I think it's about the traveling. They're trying to kind of make sure that their citizens, if you're a U.S. citizen, you are traveling. They're trying to prevent fraud, because some people might leave in one passport, coming back in another passport. I think in order for them to kind of get a hold on that, they're just going to say, you know what, travel with one passport to go back in and out, because the cases are popping up around the nation. So,
So this is
and,
what this is what it is. A lot of people think the case with the Ivorian lady is a made-up case and is not really what happened at immigration. And others also think it's real, it's happening.
no, it's
So
happening. It's not just the Ivorian lady. It's also happening, not just her. And let me say this: it's not because there's a policy that says do it. When you get to the borders are all airports, custom and borders, wherever, right? They have a wide discretion there. Some things that happen at the border has no policy backings, because they have, like, for somebody coming in, you have a green card, and they detain you and put you somewhere for 5 hours. Why? You're a permanent resident. So, not to say that is right, but they're just going to come up with a lot of things to make life miserable for everybody. So,
but this is the thing though. The Ivorian is a US citizen. That's the part that I don't like. That's why a lot of people are saying that the story sounds like a made up story. Ivorian is an American citizen. She has an Ivorian passport, which makes her a dual citizen, right? So she left America on the Ivorian passport, and she's coming back to America on the US passport. And you are trying to tell her that I can't let you in because you did not leave America with American passport?
because what they are trying to, in my humble opinion, again, this not just the Ivorian lady this happened to. Let's just put it that way. It depends on your border state. I mean, which state you're coming through. It depends on the airport. Those boys are going to be ruthless. They're going to use some wide discretion to do all kinds of things. Things are not even supported by policy. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not supported by any policy mandates. It's just, you're going to see more things than that. Just take precaution. For me, until you see things calm down a bit, if you want to travel,
Can they
and no,
can they be sued? Can they be sued for putting you through that stress?
good luck. Good luck in suing them. Under what basis? I mean, the thing is, when you sign the allegiance, you say, I pledge allegiance. So that means United States, the allegiance to the United States come first. So they're going to internalize it to say, well, if you, and the second thing they're going to try to say is, we're trying to prevent fraud. You're leaving with one passport, coming back with one passport. What if you give your passport to someone else? Like, or anything is possible. I'm not saying that it's right, but I can't say, yeah, they can be sued and you'll be successful. You can't sue them unless there is a class of people that they have been doing it, they're going to do it to in a long, that a class is developed and it's being prejudiced to the US citizens, and then they have standing, then a group of people can sue, and then it becomes a case precedent why that then why that should never be done. But that has not happened. It's very hard for one person to sue the government or any of its agency just like that. You gotta have to have what they call standing, because it goes into the constitutional law.
Okay. Let me read this case just for the purpose of those who haven't, heard it or read about it. An Ivorian woman was caught and denied entry into the United States because she left the country without a visa, using her Ivorian passport to enter Cote d'Ivoire, and then attempted to return to the US with her American passport. Apparently, the immigration officer asked her how she entered Cote d'Ivoire, and when she replied that she used her Ivorian passport, the officer confiscated her passport, her US passport, telling her that she did not need it if she was using her Ivorian one. Legally, the officer was right. US law states, if you are a US citizen with multiple passports, you must use your American passport to enter and exit the United States. Previously, many Africans ignored this rule, but under Trump administration, which has strict immigration policies, targeting even legal immigrants from Black, South American, and Asian backgrounds, immigration officers are enforcing the law more strictly. The immigration landscape has changed significantly, and previously overlooked practices are now being strictly punished. Please warn anyone you know who engages in this practice to avoid the trouble. So not only did they take a passport from her, they also denied her entry to America. Can you deny an American citizen an entry to his country or her country? That is the part. See, I'm not denying the fact that she was supposed to go to Ivory Coast. Well, we don't say Ivory Coast anymore. That she was supposed to go to Cote d'Ivoire with her her passport, with American passport, and she did not. I'm not denying that fact at all. I'm just confused on the basis that she's coming back to America with an American passport, but there's no stamp in the passport saying that she left the country. So now they want to know how you left the country and how you coming back. So if you're going to take anything, well, you can't take the Ivorian passport because you don't have jurisdiction over the Ivorian passport.
You don't have jurisdiction to take that. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So on what basis do you confiscate the American passport from them and still deny them entry to America? That blows my mind.
It's not that there's any policy that's backing this action, but there is a wide discretion at the border, even before Trump took over, because there's no border law so much. So those boys, there's a wide range of discretion. They do whatever they want at the border, at these border states. Somebody coming in, they're permanent residents, they're holding them for 5-6 hours, questioning them. Why? I mean, one would ask why. There's no rhyme or reason for that, but they're going to try to sort of create all of these things so that people's lives can just be miserable. That's why you just have to know what the trend is. It may not be a policy backing, but know what the trend is so that you know exactly how to protect yourself. I mean, she's a U.S. citizen. They might have denied entry, but eventually she's going to come back because she's a U.S. citizen. They can't keep her out of the country. And I didn't follow the story to see if she was able to come back or not, but certainly they cannot deny her entry. And then just like that, like she can never come back. That would be unconstitutional.
So that means the immigration guy was in the wrong.
one may argue, but there's no lawsuit you're about to file for him against him. Yeah, I will highly say he was for not allowing her to come back in the country. Of course, I would say that he was wrong for doing that.
Can you
But
tilt your camera up a little bit because we can see only half of your face now? There you go. Perfect.
I have to sit back. I would say, as a person and by due process, yeah, he was wrong. But how do you get recourse for that? That's another story. So you just take precaution. You got to, before you leave, make sure you look at the different the different airports. What are the trends happening to those different airports? You don't want to walk yourself into a situation. There are places now, I tell my clients when they call me, don't fly. Don't fly into LA. Don't fly into these major international airports. Don't fly through there. Because now you have to prove so much more. So if you don't have documents to show that you can fly, or you're flying out of the country, I mean, if you're coming back to an international airport that practice, those kinds of practices don't happen, then maybe you can do that. Do your
Okay.
research before you leave. That what practices are happening at this airport. Dulles is very notorious from detaining people. So I always tell my clients, don't fly into Dulles, or because even if you have green cards, they can still stop you and question you and do all of these things.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up for questions, and we're not gonna do the voice questions right now. We're gonna read all the questions that we have on. Again, mind you, we are live on Facebook and YouTube, HRE and Taptap Send Ghana's platform. So please, if you ask your question, be circumspect of the questions that you're asking. If you have any personal question, please take the number for the Toronto Law Company and just book it as a session and just talk to them. So we're gonna start off now.
And
Before again I
let me
proceed.
say that I apologize. Let me say this. This is not for the purpose of legal advice. We're speaking about policies that are happening. Again, I think you hit on it. It's not to give you personal advice about your case, because we don't have the details about your personal case.
Exactly.
Even though what we touch about may sound like your case, but please do a follow-up.
Try as much as possible to proceed with that and not basically keep hammering that part, because I think that kind of makes it a little bit off. So it's okay. If you disagree with something, just state that you respectfully disagree with it, because let's be mindful that our guest comes on the show because of we requested for them to come, so we'll not try to create any hostility for them to feel uncomfortable. It's the same way our guest comes on the show, they cannot make our viewers feel some sort of hostility. So to protect both sides, let's try as much as possible to respectfully put our point across without making it sound condescending, because that would not be good enough for us. So we're gonna go read the questions. Patrick and Ahu, I see you guys with your hands up. I'm gonna call you guys, but please give us a chance to read some questions. And if I do miss your question, it's because maybe it's not audible enough for me to read it out. Okay, and it's nothing personal. So please, and if I miss your question deliberately, or if I miss your question mistakenly, it's not deliberate. Please type it again and I'll read it. Michael says, I don't think it's true. And I like that part. I'm not reading the first part, but I'm reading your second question. Michael says, I don't think it's true. Our CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, cannot deny any U.S. citizen from entering the country. And Joanie, is that a name? Hold on just a second. You guys can see me, right? Just want to make sure. You can see me. Okay. All right. And Joanie says, what is it? Then Michael says, I don't think it's true. The same thing. Then Michael comes back to make a very good point, that it appears that some people too are taking undue advantage to stoke fear. It doesn't make sense under any circumstance for CBP to deny a U.S. citizen entry to the United States because the individuals exited the country without a visa. How a U.S. citizen leaves the country, whether with or without visa, is not no one's business. As long as you are entering the country with valid and unexpired U.S. passport, no one can refuse your entry. And Michael, I totally understand and agree with you. I think that is what Mrs. Torinka was saying, that based on the fact that some people are still doing what they think they can do on that point, even though people
Well,
will
yeah,
take some harsh
that's what
decisions.
I ended up by saying, that they may have stopped her and went through a process, but not allowing her to come in the United States. That's unconstitutional, and that's what I said at the very end. There's just no way that I can foresee them preventing her from coming in the United States because
Right.
she's a U.S. citizen.
All right, right. Marian says she didn't say she was denied. She was told to use her U.S. passport, and the Ivorian passport was taken. Marian, I think I read the story. What happened? First of all, they cannot take the Ivorian passport from her. CBP has no control to take any
That's
foreign
correct.
national passport, and that I know for a fact. So they cannot take it from her. And actually, on the letter circulating states that she was denied. Her American passport was confiscated, and she was denied entry at that point. And Michael says you may be subject to secondary inspection for baggage checks, questions, and the rest, just as every other traveler would undergo. This may cause a delay, but CBP cannot confiscate your passport or refuse you entry under any circumstance. And yes, Michael, I totally agree with you. So I'm still confused why they did this to the woman. Maybe under regulations, maybe under regular administration, these are unprecedented times. And this is coming from Johnny. Marian comes back to say she didn't say she was denied. Okay, we already read that. She said on the letter it says that she was denied. Uh,
And she could have very much used the wrong word. I was denied the first time she went in. I agree. Maybe there are some secondary interviews that she had to go through. But I agree at the very end of it, she cannot be denied, fully denied entry and turned back to go back to her country when she's a U.S. citizen, and they're able to verify that in the system. I don't see that happening. So, but what I'm trying to drive at is at the border there's a large discretion, and those discretion are not governed by the typical immigration laws that we see here. Those boys will do about anything. There's more horror stories than this that will come up at the border. You just know your rights, know how to protect yourselves, and if you see that this airport is conducting a practice, then you know how to protect yourself. That's the reason why I even brought that case, because we don't have the full facts, to be very honest. I'm sure she's not out of the country. She has to be in the country to have written that. But we just have to know the borders and the kinds of practices that are going on at the border to prevent anything from happening to you
all right.
personally.
Michael was asking if he can share the relevant law or policy or anything regulation that is applicable in this case. But I'm not sure. I think you did mention that it's not necessarily that there is a law, but these guys will just go ahead and do whatever they want to do. Because I remember that is why I asked you if it's possible for them to be sued, and you said good luck with that. Johnny says
Yeah,
some
because
of
there's no policy backing that, whatever they did. There's no policy, there's no law backing what they did.
right, exactly. I agree. Johnny says some of my legal students with US ID have gotten stopped and arrested just for speaking Spanish. And just a second. Take me off. Need to be microphone. Had a, oh, I'm on back on mute. All right, sorry about that. I had a involuntary cough. that prevented me from continuing. Sorry, guys, I'm really struggling. So, for speaking Spanish and not having their birth certificates with them, and this is from Johnny. Oba can agree with you saying that, yep, good luck with seeing them. Michael says there should be a clear education. In fact, in this circumstance, and not unwarranted. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Michael. Liz says, are they allowed to enter into places of worship and arrest people? I think that's why we're talking about the century the century states, right?
The sanctuary states that have these places, these churches who are holding these. And here's the thing, policies are made. How you carry out the policies has not been fully clear. We are all still sifting through this. How are they going to affect these policies that was made? Now, a child or they go into the schools and they have gone into schools. We know that even in Winchester, where I live, they're gone into the schools systems here to see or around the school system. Here's the thing: you're going to have people taking upon themselves and using their discretion because these policies are not extremely clear. They're getting the how to effect these policies from the DOJ, especially like, for example, in court. Should you then not say, I can't take my witness to court because maybe my witness who knows my story and can vouch for my story, but they're undocumented now, they're scared to go. People have to walk around with their birth certificates because they're going to racially profile. So in order to avoid, it doesn't mean that they're not going to stop you. Like the incident with the airport, we don't know what prompted all of that to happen, but they might stop a Hispanic person that speaks Spanish, don't have their birth certificate, take them in, process them, and then realize, oh, shoot, you were born here in the United States. There are no rules, clear rules that are really giving us the guidelines, giving them the guidelines. They're trying to work with law enforcement, local law enforcement. And if they don't, in some states, they're going to go after those law enforcement offices because they want them to work with the ICE agents in order to effect these collection of people and raids and stuff like that. And until they get a clear pathway on how to get it done, it's just going to be done across the board the way they see fit to do it at this point.
So that is a good segue into Johnny's question. So what would be the much appreciated? No, what would be the best process or best tips for one to go about it?
Well, what I would suggest is you have to take these precautions. Number one, you still have a right to be silent. Like somebody shows up to your house and say, "Oh, I'm ICE." First of all, where's your badge? Show me you have a warrant. Those warrants are not signed by judges; they are executive. That from the ICE, slide it under the door. Sometimes ICE will come in and say they're looking for Juan Perez, but they know no Juan Perez stayed there. They're looking for more people. They're trying to get more information. They give you this wrong information, and here you are correcting them and giving information. You have a right to remain silent. Even if you're an illegal person on this soil of the United States, you have a right to remain silent. You don't, besides your name and perhaps an identification, nothing, no other questions you have to answer. So because anything you say will then be used, against you later on. I tell people when ICE do take you in, whether it's by, you're undocumented, they take you in, you want to tell them, I have a fear to return back. It shifts the burden to them so that they can at least do a first tier reasonable fear interview to see whether or not that fear is reasonable and credible enough for you to maybe present your case before the immigration judge. Carry documents with you, copies of documents with you that will show that you have applications pending, or you are a citizen, or you are a green card holder. I would not carry the originals, like the actual copies, the actual card or whatever, because you just never know. Somebody might want to take it from you. You want to carry copies of it so that it avoids you having to go be processed. So what we have to do now is just know some of the rights or know some of the things to do and not to do so that you don't go through the process of being detained, process, and then later on they're finding out, oh, you're supposed to be here in this country. But there's
Okay.
nothing you can do to stop it.
Okay. So I think we'll just. I don't know if Malcolm is ready to take over
Yeah,
before you
it's
leave.
7 o'clock.
Yeah. So
Malcolm, is Mr. Taronka on yet? Can you get him on? Because we want to make sure that, well, anyway, it's not legal questions. I just again want to point that even if Malcolm gives, don't take it as a legal advice. He's not giving legal advice. He's just answering questions based on the policies that we have on that we are now seeing. And remember, those policies have to be affected. DOJ is sending memorandums to to these groups now how to carry out these policies. So we are all learning it at the same time. It's confusing, but it is what it is. So
okay.
I will digress from here and then sign out so that they can continue.
Okay. So is Malcolm ready or Mr. Toronko is ready? Who is ready?
I don't know who's ready.
Malcolm, can you turn your camera on so that we can start? If you can start before Mr. Toronko takes
Let
over.
me try
Sure,
him.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay,
Kema,
welcome back.
Kema,
Bye.
it was a blessing having you. Thank you very much for showing up the first half
Okay.
of this interview. All
You're
right.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Hey, Malcolm, thank you for taking over from Mrs. Toronka. And the next question on my screen, if you don't mind, turn your camera on if your camera is not on. But the next question on my screen is Juani says, yes, part of Trump's executive order is that ICE can now go into universities, schools, churches, etc. All they have to do is ask or have a warrant. So again, when they ask you, you can turn down if you don't want to. You don't want them in there. Or you know what? iPad says, I believe you should use your American passport and be safe. I totally agree too, because if unless you want to just hold on your grounds and just argue with them and not just have any back and forth or maybe not waste your time. Um, um, Michael, I think we all agree there's no such law because your comments keep coming with it. Um, um, Gifty just sent up a link over there for dual citizenship. Akosia Aka says that she was basically used as a scapegoat. Um, um, Michael says entry and exit requirements when traveling to a country where you have US and that the country's nationality, you may need to use a passport from that country or show an ID from that country. Some countries impose restrictions on its departing citizens. For example, they may need an exit visa. Okay, Chibo says, what's the effect of traffic offenses like overspeeding on those who are awaiting determination of their immigration petition? This is for you, Malcolm.
Okay, so traffic violations do not affect your immigration processes in any way. Sometimes if you go for a green card interview, the officer might, ask you, have you ever been arrested, cited? Cite a traffic violation is a citation technically. So some people check yes for that answer, some people check no, but as long as if you get a traffic ticket, just make sure you pay it off before you go for your green card interview, and that should be it.
Okay. Michael was saying thanks for sharing the link. Information is clearly stated. Doris says, do one still needs to get a visa going to Ghana with American and Ghana passport? Once you present American passport, it is stamped at departure date. Once you reach Ghana, you can present your Ghana passport to avoid visa fee.
So what I know with the whole debate going on, as Mr. Uncle previously mentioned, we're not clear as to what really happened, right? I think that story came from TikTok, so nobody knows the truth about it. But at the end of the day, if you want to use both passports to travel, just make sure that you're a dual citizen. That's I think the issue is a lot of Africans don't go through the process to do the whole dual citizenship thing. It's like, oh, I have a Ghanaian passport, I have an American passport, I can use both. But just to be safe, go through the process and have your dual citizenship so that issues like this won't arise to you or happen to you.
So just by having both passports do not automatically makes you a dual citizen.
Exactly. You have to go through the process and
Oh,
become
so
a
this is
dual
what Mr.
citizen.
Rinka was saying, that even
That's what
though
she was
people
trying
were
to
using it, it wasn't
Exactly.
enforced like it used to be before. So right now they can stand on the grounds and say that, hey, yes, you do have both passports, but it doesn't automatically make you a dual citizen. So now we
Exactly.
want to give you help for that. Okay, I
Because
understand.
basically when you become a U.S. citizen, you do sign and say that you're, letting go of any citizenship that you have. So now if you're going to go back and get a passport for your country, go through the process, do it the right way so that you don't run into issues. And as you mentioned before, they do that to prevent crime and, stuff like that, because people use people's passports to travel. People use their passports to do other things. So that's what it boils down to. Just go through the process and become a dual citizen, and not just use your passport just because you have one.
All right. The Rock Excellence says his asylum was denied. A hospital is ready to file for him, but someone said it is not going to be possible because he's already in immigration court. Please educate.
Okay. You'll have to call the office for that one.
Okay. One of those questions, right?
Yes, for that.
Okay. iPhone says, are you okay now? Bless you. Yes, I'm a little bit okay right now. Yeah, I was getting choked on my own cough. Sorry about that. Thank you very much for asking. Monica J says, I have a friend, a green card holder, who was jailed for child abuse. Is she going to be deported? Should ICE get her?
So typically, in situations like that, they may or may not put her in removal proceedings. So it's all going to boil down to that. But you can call the office as well, and we can get into depth because we need to know more about the case. We can't just give you an answer, but it's possible that they can put her in immigration court. But if they don't, then she should be okay.
All right. So at this point, we have 3 people with their hands up, and we're gonna have them, talk. Hugh will be first, then Patrick will be second, then Charles will be third, just in that order. So please forgive me if I butchered your name. Please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
So I didn't have a question to ask. I was just adding onto it an experience I had way before.
Go ahead.
This happened. So I have British citizenship and here as well. And I was one time coming from London because I had to go do something with that over there. And at the airport, I got faced with a similar situation. One thing we have to know is, just like the other attorney said, these things are happening at a time that people are being emotional about it. The border professionals are not educated on any policy that they have to do. So if you happen to come across somebody who is acting more on his emotional feelings than what the policy says, you can get, but before anything gets anywhere that you might even get defense, you probably would have had a hard time. Because my situation, when the young lady who found that I had 2 passports and was doing something to think that she had something, just like I said, if I were to technically have those 2 to use, I had to go through a dual citizenship to get those, to be able to apply those. But the good thing is, the man said everything on the passports, both of them are good. They're the same thing. There was none that differed, like the date of birth was different or some kind of name different. So it's the same person, but that is there.
All right.
So I was lucky I didn't get detained. But like what is happening now, if you get somebody that is not going by the strict policies, then you could waste your time. Even like it happens to you, what we are discussing here is not going to help you. If they take an hour of your time, a day of your life, is something that is going to hurt you.
Okay. All right. So because of the time of lawyers, we will try it as much as possible to make our questions and opinions very, very brief, so that because we have a specific time by 7:30, we're pretty much done with them, and maybe after that, if people want to share more opinions and more stories, once we're done with the Facebook and the YouTube, then we can do that. But if I want this time to be more for people that really have questions that they want them to be answered to them. Emmanuel asks, "Can we share our opinion?" Yes, sure, you can share your opinion, but just give more time and preference to people that really have questions that they want to use this opportunity of having the lawyers here to answer the questions for them. Marion, and this goes to you, Malcolm. Marion says, "I have a green card. It has been extended, but I don't have my new card yet. If I travel to Ghana, will I need a visa to come back to the US?"
No, so you don't need one. When they extend your green card, immigration gives you a receipt notice, which is typically green. You may get a green one or a white one, but we always tell clients, if you're traveling outside the country, make sure you have the original, which is the green one. You wouldn't need a visa to come back. You can go and come. You're still a green card holder.
She says she
even
have the
though-
white notice.
Okay, so if you have an attorney, most likely they sent the green one to your attorney. But if not, you can just travel with the white one. I always, again, if you can get the green one, that's better.
All right, cool. Emmanuel says, "Are we going to have time to speak?" Yes, we are. Please, when you go to Zoom, hit on the reaction button, and I'll call you next after the other two people. iPhone says, "My US passport has expired. Will it affect me?"
Just renew it.
Yeah. I don't. Even that, I can answer that question, right? Monica just says, "Thank you very much." Toronto, where's your office? Malcolm has already posted the office information in there, and also please, if you are part of our chat room, the HRTV chat room, I'm gonna post all those information over there as well, so that you guys can have access to it. But Malcolm has already posted in the chat room, and if you are not part of our chat room, A-Class is going to post a link over there, and please join, and you're going to get that information over there as well. Today I'm having troubles cross-posting stuff on Facebook and YouTube, so please click on the chat room link, join the chat room, then I can put all those information over there. I know
So
someone. Go
I
ahead.
think iPhone is asking about her Ghanaian passport. She's a US citizen, so go through the embassy. Go through the Ghanaian embassy and let them know you want to file for dual citizenship. So they'll take care of you there.
Oh, okay. Got you. Solineb says, "I know someone who's looking for a lawyer, but he stays in Buffalo. Toronto law firm operates everywhere in the US and Ghana as well. So yes, they can actually reach out to them as well." This one is from iPhone. Ane, how do you file for dual citizen? Is it dual or dual citizen? It's dual, right?
Dual, yes.
DUAL, right?
DUAL.
Okay, that threw me off, but that word also kind of makes sense too. How do you file for dual citizen? I have African and US, please. Well, you
Right,
can have an African passport. You have to be a country in Africa.
A country, yeah. So just go through whatever country you're from, go through your embassy if you're here in the United States, and let them know you want to apply for dual citizenship, and they should be able to do that for you.
Anoche, Paul Anoche. So I want to rephrase his question and ask it because it's a little bit sensitive. So he's married to his wife, right? And they kind of file for change of status. It's pending, and over 4 months now, he only see case decision. Does he have to carry his receipt with him every day?
Well, just to be on the safe side, yes. If you filed, as Mrs. Saranka said, if you filed applications and you have receipts from immigration, just carry them with you, just in case you run into any law enforcement. You can show them that you have an application pending.
Okay. And V says that I have a travel permit based on my green card application. Is it a bit safe to travel to Ghana?
So I is it the advanced parole? So if you're talking about advanced parole, it should be safe, but again,
She
you're
said
going
yes.
at your
She
own
said yes.
risk.
She said yes.
Yes, so advanced parole, it's typically not an issue to travel with advanced parole, but with everything that's going on right now, you'll be taking you'll be doing that at your own risk.
Got you. I think so. I think you've said it proverbially, so they'll make sense out of what you just said.
Yeah.
Marion says Chicago is fast with passport renewal. And also she comes back to say you will have to select New York, and when the location shows up, select Chicago. Oh, okay. That is a smart way to go about it. iPhone says, how does the dual citizen works? Oh, he already explained that. He says you have to go through your country to select that. And Solineb says, what is the best time to call you so I can have her call your office tomorrow with that person who stays in Buffalo?
Okay, we're open between 9 and 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So,
Okay. All right. So the next person on my list is Patrick. After Patrick Charles, after Charles Emmanuel. Patrick, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, good afternoon to everybody, wherever we are. I have two questions. My question is, someone on H-1B visa, one, can the person renew, not that, can the person apply for green card on the first 3 years? Then my second question is how someone on H-1B having his family here and then maybe subsequently giving birth after Trump hullabaloo now, what will be the citizenship status of the newborn?
so
Thank you.
can you repeat that second question, please?
My second question is a family, let's say an H-1B visa holder gives birth now, what will be the citizenship status of that newborn?
Okay, so your first question with the H-1B, they can only
Yes.
be applied for their green cards after 6 years, not 3 years. Okay, you have to reach the limit. I believe so after 6 years you can apply for the green card. And to your second question, Trump halting the whole birthright citizenship thing. As of now, it's been challenged, right? So it's not necessarily in effect. So it all depends. I've heard that they are delaying birth certificates for people and all that stuff. So it's not really clear, and there's no, it hasn't gone fully in effect simply because it's been challenged by the court. So I don't know what state they are. I don't know what the policies are at this time, but I believe that they should be okay, and they should have them, still as U.S. citizens. But
so a follow-up.
Yes.
A follow-up on this. On the first question, should you have your 2 terms renewed before you apply for the green card? Or I learned that on your 4th year, you have to start the green card process. How true is that?
Okay, so according to the law, you have to be on it for at least the 6 years before you can file the green card. But we can discuss it further. You call the office. We'll do a free 15-minute consultation for anyone that calls and says Taptap Send, and then we can discuss it further, because I know we only have 10 minutes left. So
okay, that's
All right.
fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Charles, and after that, Emmanuel. Charles, can you go ahead and unmute yourself, please?
Hello.
Hello, Charles.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. I always I appreciate your it's very, very, very wonderful. Yeah, I have one
Thank you.
question. Yeah, I have one question. Someone has filed for his two daughters. He's a citizen. He has filed for his two daughters, and it's about 8 years now. The case went to National Visa Center about 2 years ago. Nothing is heard. He's,
Mr. Charles, how old are the daughters? And are they married or
oh,
single?
they are married daughters. They're more than 21 years.
They're more than 21
Yeah,
years. Okay, okay,
yeah.
cool.
And my question is, I want to know the priority date that they are working on. They are giving visa right now. Because my friend, that friend is confused. He
Okay.
said they have overlooked his case. Yeah.
Okay, Malcolm is going to answer for it, okay? Thank you, Mr. Charles. Malcolm.
So for you said they are unmarried over
Unmarried
21.
over 21 years.
So basically, when the case gets to the National Visa Center, if they're from Ghana, as long as they've two things happen. Sometimes there may not be a visa available right away because of their age, but if there's a visa available, they will open the portal. You submit your DS-260 and all that good stuff. And then once the NVC approves everything, there is a waiting period. Unfortunately, there's backlog cases in Ghana, and they just started scheduling a lot of people.
So what is how many years of waiting period? I think that's what he wants to know.
It varies. We've seen people's case take 3 years, some 2 years, but it's between that time period. The fastest one I've seen recently was about a year wait time. So it all depends on when those applications were submitted. But what I know for sure is that they've started moving those cases in Ghana.
Okay. So, Mr. Charles, I'll suggest that you have your friend call the office and just get more detailed information based on the story, okay? All right, Emmanuel, before we call Emmanuel, let's go read some comments first. Esther says that she needs a lawyer to renew her green card. So, Esther, please call the office. And Joanne says, what is your consultation fee? Is that something that they need to call the office to get it, or you can say it out loud?
Right. So it's the first 15 minutes will be free, and then we'll tell you how much it is after.
Okay. All right. Gifty says, I know someone traveling to Ghana this weekend without a visa, but has both Ghana and American passport. What is your advice? What advice can you give on this?
So if they are dual citizen, they should be fine. Shouldn't have any issues. But if they are not, or if they didn't go through the right process, try to get a visa in your American passport before you leave.
Okay.
I'll do a visa on arrival at the airport.
Yeah, visa on arrival. I think that'll be the best since the time is close.
Time is.
Yeah. Bismarck Daute says, I am a J1 teacher, but I have my brother here as a citizen. How do we apply for adjustment of status?
Okay. Call the office and we can explain that to you as well.
All right, cool. iPhone says, I have passed my naturalization exams during that time, and I owned tax, and they told me to pay before schedule for swearing in. I have paid in a year now, but didn't hear from them. What should I do?
Okay, so is the case still pending? If the case is still pending, then you have to reach out to USCIS to let them know you've paid the taxes, and so they can schedule you. So it's all going to depend on whether the case is still there. If they didn't deny the case, then something should move for you once you submit those documentation.
All right, Sam says, can you share your thoughts on students, people who are on F1 OPT, making plans to get H1B and proceed with green card? With all that is happening, should they proceed or wait a little?
Right now, he wants to stop. They want to change certain things regarding this H1B stuff. So as of now, they're free to file for the H1B. um, until anything changes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Before we proceed to the next question, Esther is asking, does she need a lawyer to file for a green card or not? I think that was a question initially.
you don't need a lawyer as long as you know what you're doing. But yes, get a lawyer if you can,
Okay.
to make the process smoother for you.
Okay. Paul Alu says, for someone who came as an F1 and just got married to a U.S. citizen, what do you advise they do for change of status?
You have to go through the process of filing. So that's the best way to change your status.
Emmanuel, I was going to call you after the questions, after reading those questions, and I'll have to unmute you for you to unmute yourself. So just give me some time. Esther's iPhone says, do I need a lawyer to renew my green card or not? We already asked that. And Marian says, USCIS really responds. So don't be afraid to send them questions. Okay, got you. So
Yeah.
that was a contribution. Please, I want to be clear about renewing my American passport. Do I need a lawyer? Oh no, American passport, you don't need a lawyer. Ajowa says I got approved for EB2 in August 2024, and I'm still in school, but my husband's OPT expires in June. What is his best option?
Okay, please call the office on that one, and we can go through, we can give you different options.
The Rock says that his asylum was denied and already immigration call. Can his employer still file for him?
I think we asked him to also call the office.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. So, Emmanuel, we're gonna unmute yourself to go ahead and ask your question. And if it's a contribution, I'll please plead with you to make it very brief, because we have 3 minutes and we want other people to get their questions in. Emmanuel, unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's just a few things that I just want to put across. Once again, I'm not a lawyer or whatever it is, but with the little experience that I have, I feel like I can just put this across for people to also understand certain things that is going on. The first thing that I want to talk about is, you guys talked about getting a visa on arrival. It's not as easy as that. So when I know one person said, oh, either get a visa or do a visa on arrival. The visa on arrival is more tedious than even going for a visa. So if you go to the counter to go check in that you want to go to Ghana, you get a visa on arrival. They are not going to let you fly. Delta, other airlines that I know will not let you fly. So just be cautious if you want to go that route. Secondly, I know the lawyer already stated that story that is going around, she probably doesn't know the details about it. But what I want to point out is, America does not have any law that tells you have to be a dual citizen. Let's be very clear on that. There is no law that says that. Ghana used to have a law that tells you that you have to go through the dual citizen process to become a dual. When Akufo-Addo came, he canceled that. So when you have the Ghana passport, automatically, in addition to maybe a Togo passport, that makes you a dual citizen. We can infer this from the Ghana embassy, but that is the way it works. And what the thing is, you traveling or exiting America with your American passport and a Ghana card and coming back to America. And moreover, there's no law an immigration officer can confiscate a valid how I want to use the right word. It's not being tempered with American passport. It can never be confiscated by an immigration officer. Sometimes I understand there is panic, there is fear, but we shouldn't give room for people to put that fear in us. There are laws and there are things that can happen. I totally understand, especially somebody traveling with a parole how to call it, part and stuff. I would not advise that, because at that point you don't even have grounds. You are not a citizen of the country. I would not advise somebody to travel and stuff like that. But me going to Ghana with my Ghana card and my American passport, and you telling me I got it back, and those stuffs are too baloney. And I just want to clear the air that we shouldn't be putting fear in ourselves, thinking that these people are God or whatever it is. There are laws that guides them as to what they do. There is no way.
Okay,
I really wish. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you.
I think the point has been well made. Thank you very much. Malcolm, do you have anything to say to that, or you want us to proceed?
I mean, if you go on the Ghana embassy, it's very clear on the Ghana embassy's website. It's very clear that if you're a U.S. citizen, you do qualify to have dual citizenship. So again, just do it the right way. Okay, that's all we'll say. You
All right.
fill the application, pay the fee, and they'll grant you the dual citizenship. Because when you become an American citizen, you do renounce that. So just apply, just to keep yourself safe. That's all.
All right. Can you take one more question before you leave, please?
Sure.
So this question is coming from Solinet, and he or she says, if I want to adopt, hey, Lawyer Ismail, I see you.
How you doing, boss? I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's totally fine. Thank you very much. I know
No
you guys have
problem.
so many different meetings. Soleneb says if he or she wants to adopt the sister who passed away twins. So the sister had twins and the sister has passed away. What can he or she do?
Yeah, so she has to go back to Ghana and adopt those children. However, when you are about to file, the most important thing is you have to prove to immigration that you have physically resided with those children for a total of 2 years. Okay, so that's where it becomes tricky for a few people. But if you want to adopt, you can adopt the child. And you have to have custody of the child as well.
So technically what he's saying is you have to go live in Ghana for 2 years.
Well, not
And you have to prove it.
necessarily. Yeah,
So
not
how
necessarily.
do you prove the 2 years?
Whether you live in Ghana, if it's in Ghana for 2 years, or another thing is if you visit your home country, Ghana or anywhere else, anytime you go, you spend a month, that can be count, towards the 2 years residency
Lawyer
requirement.
Ismail.
Yes.
Most people go to Ghana once or twice a year.
Mhm.
Most people, the
Mhm.
average, goes to Ghana once or twice a year. And the average most people spend is a month. So you telling me to build a 24 months and I'm going once or twice and spending the total of 1 month, that means I'm gonna have to do that for 24 years. I mean, basically.
Well, that's true, but another way you can do, and if you look at it this way, if it's a married couple that also adopt the children, they just anytime one of them goes, that counts, and they can use that. Another thing you can do is you can bring the children here, either on the visiting visa, if you
Okay,
already
that
have
makes
the
sense.
adoption.
Mhm.
And they can come stay with you for 2 years, and you can file the paperwork. And just a quick note, when people are talking about dual citizenship, I was hearing they're talking about it. Um, because of the treaties between countries, most of the countries, it's automatic, you have dual citizenship. However, if you go into your home country, if you're an American citizen and you go into Ghana, you know, then you travel with a Ghanaian passport because you don't have to pay for the visa. If you go to Ghana, anything happened to you, the American embassy cannot come and step in and defend you as an American citizen because you enter as a Ghanaian. So they can help you. But if you go with your American passports, anything happen to you, they will step in and help you. So just remember that.
All right. And please, Malcolm, do you mind if you share the information again? Mr. Paul wants it. And can you touch base on the visa on arrival in Ghana and the documentation one needs for that? That's from Gifty.
Oh, well, the visa on arrival, it depends though, because that's the country that you're going to, say
Okay,
like
before
in
you answer the
Ghana.
question, Jimmy
Mhm.
Cash is saying that visa on arrival has been canceled. Is that true?
It said has been canceled.
I just saw the comment right now.
Oh, okay. I don't see that. Okay. I mean, things are moving like crazy right now. But typically, usually it's your home country that can send you. They have. I go to Ghana a lot, and sometimes my visa had expired. So usually, either the government there will send, documentation for them, the airline to allow me to board. Then when I get to Ghana, they stamp my passport. So it's actually no. Sometimes, travel agencies in Ghana can also send you that through customs in Ghana. So then they will allow you to board the flight. because a visa actually is just for you to board the flight. It's got nothing to do with anything.
Okay. And
Right.
what is the wait time for immigration interview date in Ghana? What type of immigration question though? Because there's so many different types. There are, kids over 21 married, kids over 21 single, and kids under 21. So, Samsung, your question is not a little bit definite. Okay, I think those are all the questions that we have. I don't see any hands up on Zoom from any of us. So I will say if you want to wrap it up and give us a summary, a quick like basically your final words, then we will just let you go. Oh, so Samsung says it was for spousal immigration interview.
Oh, okay. It all depends though. Ghana has a backlog. So they have a process in time, but we can't really tell you specifically it's gonna take you this time or that time. And sometimes if your case is taking longer, you're not bound to say you have to get your interview in Ghana. You can move, your interview in another country that is not that busy. So if you need more information, just call us. It's 15 minutes free, and we'll be able to help you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. A class, please, can you put the chat room link over there on Zoom so that whilst they're giving us a summary, so that we can put out for people to join and for me to send the contact information of the Toronto law firm to them as well. So A class, please. I'm going to put the chat room link in the comment section on Zoom. Yes. How about people that adopt from other countries when they are born? I'm not sure what that means by other countries. Yes, I want to do a visiting visa for the twins. Please, can you help me? So, yeah, please call the office and they will talk to you about it. It's so apparently they said it ended on January 4th. That was the visa arrival ended on January 4th. Um, okay, and Jimmy Cash says that it was canceled just last December. You can check on the Ghana embassy sites. Wow, this is crazy. Um, wow. Lord asked a very good question. Is COVID still the excuse for the backlog?
We don't know. There's just a backlog, but
But it's moving though.
it's moving. Yeah.
It's moving once, Trump was sworn in, and a lot of cases are moving now. So, and
Okay.
sometimes you can also, reach out to your congressperson, whether men or women's office, and they have liaisons that can, liaise between you and the constituents and also the embassy or maybe USCIS. So sometimes after you've tried everything, you might want to reach out to them. As long as you're a citizen, they work with you. And some of them will write a letter, and some of them will actually make a call on your behalf. And immigration has to respond to them, whether it's the embassy, whether it's the National Visa Center, whether it's USCIS, they have to respond to them within 72 hours anyway. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And what are you guys your final words in the summary for us to share with our awesome viewers?
What did you guys talk about? Go ahead. You can give us some. Well, we just want to thank you, for, hosting this. It's very important because information is knowledge. I know, the terrain right now is very scary for people. And some of those laws, stay calm. I don't know if you've talked about it. You still have rights within. If you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to answer a question. Just identify yourself. Don't give your passport if you're not an American citizen. Anything that can show that you from a different country. It doesn't stop ICE for ICE not to take you if they want to take you. But if you have a receipt or anything, you can identify yourself, say you have something pending, and ICE cannot just come into your house. Remember that unless they come with a local police officer, they have a warrant, and the warrant itself, states your name, spell it correctly, and signed by a judge. Because, ICE, they have a warrant to just take a person, not to come inside your home or anything. So just remember all those things. And at the same time, most of these things will be challenged anyway in court, and they'll be litigated. And some of them, they'll be deemed unconstitutional anyway. So I know the races are going on. They pick up, people by mistake. Today, they pick one of our clients, that has, he has a green card already been approved by the court in Boston, and they just send them to New Mexico. But it happens, but don't worry, everything will be okay. All right.
All right. So,
And thank you so much, PK.
no, thank you, Lord. Last one before you leave. Augustine says her husband went to Ghana without a visa, but a U.S. citizen. What should he do? That's the last one. I promise this is the last question, and you guys go.
Oh, they went to Ghana without a U.S.
No, her husband is in Ghana right now without a visa. Like basically went with the Ghana passport. And
that's not a problem. You never run into any problem with that. I was just saying that if you go to Ghana without a U.S. visa, in case something happened to you, there's a war or you're charged with a crime, because usually the American embassy can get your lawyer to defend you if you're an American citizen. But if you go in as a Ghanaian, then their hands are tied. That was the only reason. So if you go there without a visa, you can come back with your American passport, no problem.
Okay, but I think this was based on the lady case, the lady who was denied entry because she had an Ivorian passport, going to Cote d'Ivoire with it and coming back with an American passport. So I think that's what Augustine is basing her question on.
Yeah, so again, it's a story going around. Yeah. So again, like we said before, we don't know the facts and details of this case. It's not been published anywhere. So if he's coming back, he's a U.S. citizen, just come back with your U.S. passport.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. I will let A class.
And it's not easy. I don't even know what is the case, but if you're an American citizen and you travel, you're coming back in, they will still let you in case of anything. If you get your, say like your passport through fraudulent means, and some people, they use other people's names and they get passport long time ago, back those days. And now when they come in, sometimes they detect that. Or sometimes, if they suspect you, like, terrorist list or something, they might, stop you. But you being a dual citizen, and you travel to your home country with your passport, coming with an American passport should not have any effect on you unless there is something wrong that we do not know.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. A class has placed the chat, the WhatsApp chat in there. Please click on the chat room. And Malcolm, I'll let A class sign you guys out. A class, over to you.
Malcolm, thank you very much, you and your team, for the well-versed knowledge shared upon us. We really appreciate it. Yami and Shamu. Nonko Suntuzupa and go eduma moye no
A class on TP.
Meti trio.
And I debut on the no. Wow.
So Malcolm, thank you very much for that.
No problem.
Until Yakupon Kosun not to super be and good eduma moye no so.
Amen.
And to our customers here, and so we'll say, you've heard it from the horse's own mouth. So if you have any further questions and anything, Diana, please reach out to them and ask said or kind of so. Or we made 15 minutes discount. The first 15 minutes is going to be free. So please, let's take advantage. But please, when you're going, don't take a whole gas book of questions to ask them. Remember, you just go 15 minutes. So know what you're asking, then go straight to the point, and it'll be of help. Hope to see you again, and God bless you for spending time with us. And God bless our cherished customers for being with us and listening to the show as well. God bless you.
Thank you. So when you call, just ask to talk to Malcolm. I know usually people are more comfortable because I'm Ghanaian, but I'm not an attorney yet. I am a senior paralegal for the firm, and I've been working with them for about 12 years. So anything that you need, just let me know, and I'll do my best to help you all out, okay?
All right. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Thank you,
right.
and the team.
Bye.
God bless you all. I know there were some couple questions that were left behind, but came in after the fact. So with that being said, I'm still gonna read it, but I don't think there's no adopting children who are born under 2 years. I think that is going to be pretty easy. But like they said, you have to make sure you actually have that 2 years of legal residence with them. And then that is under the Hague prevention program. So you have to. Solinep said, yeah, that is right. I did it for my mom. It was fast. Dr. Quason says the visa on arrival was only for a single entry, not multiple entry. And Esther says that is true. That is very true. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. And Kofi says, is this live gonna be saved so that we can watch it later? Yes, Kofi, we are live on HRE TV, both Facebook and YouTube. And we are also live on Taptap Send Ghana Facebook. So please, if you go over there, you can get it. And the last question was from Dr. Quason again. Says if you travel to Ghana multiple times in a year, you need a multiple entry visa. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. And please click on the link to the WhatsApp chat room. I have copied and pasted them on both Facebook and YouTube, all the platforms. So please, those of you watching us on Facebook and YouTube, please click on the link and join our chat room. And let's discuss. Next week, we will be trying to talk to you guys about how to properly and legally acquire a land in Ghana. How to properly and legally acquire a land in Ghana. So basically, we're gonna go through that route to make sure that the due diligence is done for people to make sure they don't acquire lands and later on go back with issues like that. So at this point, this is where we're gonna end the show, the first part of the show on Facebook and YouTube, and we're gonna hand over to A Class for the Q&A session with Taptap Send. If you have any question, any concern, any contribution concerning Taptap Send, this is the best time to ask. Why do I say that? I say that because this is the time that you have all the reps and the leaders on board. You have Danny, you have A Class, and with the reps, you have Uncle Jimmy, you have Oba, Dorothy Essay, Auntie Christie, and Lady Smart, and the rest of the reps that can actually help you in different geographical locations that can actually help solve your problems for you. And please spread the word. Let everybody know Taptap Send is back. So let's get back on the business of sending money, and also let's get back on the business of making our money safe and value for our money. What do I mean by value for our money? Having the better rates on the market to send money back home. So please spread the word. Now, big thanks to all our sponsors for really making this show a successful one, including Feel Good Services, Feel Good Homes, Oswald Wellness, Happy Glow GH, to talk about Millicent Owusu, financial advisor, and also Taptap Send for sponsoring this show continuously, bringing it to you, to your doorstep every week, every month, every day, every year. Also, the final and most thankful moment to our viewers. You guys have been loyal and you guys have been phenomenal throughout the entire show. I want to say big thank you to you guys. It's because of you guys and your continued support. That is why even when we're sick, we still come out to make sure that we bring you guys nothing but the best in terms of the show. And like I said, Uncle Jimmy and A Class will take over from here. And please see you guys same time next week, and do not miss out on next week's program. Again, when you join the chat room, that's what we're gonna be discussing more topics, and it's very reformed platform whereby we don't just talk about anything, everything, but solely topics we want to hear on Time with Taptap Send on HRE TV. Thank you guys very much. God bless you all. See you again next week. And I'll hand over to big shout out to producer director Nana Lord for making this a successful, as well as Nana Kwesi Wise. God bless you all. See you guys next week.